Gene was about good to everybody. As I mentioned earlier today, there's some people that, I remember one girl in particular, she couldn't handle herself very well and didn't look good. And Gene befriended her genuinely. And I think she was good at kind of helping out the less fortunate. And I appreciate it to this day. Clay was that way.
Gene Puckett was a servant in the most noble sense of that word. And she loved people. And I do not ever remember not getting a birthday card from her.
That's right.
She amazed me in that regard. She was a remarkable woman.
I may have told everybody in here this, but I don't think I have it. I was buying and selling grain and other feedstuffs, and the governor of New Mexico and them have a feedlot out in that area. So I sold him a load of corn, and they came to Texas line or near there and loaded. And so I talked to him. I asked him if he knew Jean, and she was a woman of good works. And he said, "Yes, I love her." And I thought that was very, very nice.
Jean always saw the best in people. If they were a little doubtful, she would figure out some way to make that better than it really was. She was just amazing that way. She looked on the bright side. Things were falling apart. It snowed one time, and if I remember right, it was highly inconvenient. And she just talked about how pretty it was. So her ability to look on the bright side probably carried her through a whole lot of hard situations. But she could find a silver lining when there basically wasn't one. Kindness personified. I don't think I ever heard her say anything bad about anybody. She could be disapproving, but it was always, well, you know, poor thing doesn't know better or something like that. So, you know, the kindness just oozed out of her. That's the main thing. And since I'm assuming that Ray and Keith will be watching this, you're very fortunate she was that way. She had adventures with you boys. Lots of them. That's all I got to say.
I can't say anything that hadn't already been said, I don't believe, but I do remember her always treating me like family, even though I wasn't, and I always appreciated that, and the birthday cards were very welcome. She never forgot a birthday.
And she had such beautiful handwriting. That's one thing I want to remember. No, Jean was self-effacing, and if there was a fly in the ointment, Jean had trouble accepting a compliment I don't know, she was so humble that sometimes she denied her own goodness. You know, you'd say, man, this is great. Oh, well, yeah. But no, she was amazingly humble. And however, she was very quick to compliment other people. She looked for the good and brought it out.
Well, I had a little old crippled Shetland, half Shetland, and anyway, he cost all the money I had. He cost my goat and $5 and a pocket knife, and Papa furnished $5. Now I was really wanting the horse, and anyway, Mom was gone one day, and I just let him in the house, into the back door, around through the bedroom, back out the dining room and kitchen, and nothing untoward happened. but he wasn't that kind of, he was gentle, really gentle. But anyway, I don't think Jean liked it, but I don't remember. I don't think she bragged on me any.
I think I remember you saying a long time ago that she worked you over because of that.
Well, she was capable on about then, and if I really fouled up, she'd turn and rend you.
Somehow or another, Keith had come up with a wig, and don't ask me how, and he put it in the refrigerator and waited around the corner till Jean opened the door and said, "Wow!" She really jumped.
Jean was a wonderful sister-in-law, and she seemed to care a lot about Jerry. And of course that helped in my situation, being that he's my husband. But we spent some time together, and our kids were always close, and had a lot of good times together. And but she had lots of, I think, good friends, and she was always willing to help, no matter what it was. And I loved her very much.
Jean was just, I think, the epitome of Christianity. She believed in it, and I don't mean maybe. There's no kid down there that Ellis Gamble that had a sunstroke when he's a lot younger. And of course he wasn't held in too high of esteem, and he's a nice guy, but anyway, he was really strong on Jean. And of course we didn't let her forget it. And he'd ask about Jean, or, well, how's Jean and them? We got a lot more kick out of that than Jean did. She didn't think it's too good.